We're doing a morning podcast today.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's 10. But
and we had our bartender fix them up. Cheers.
What's his name? Marshall?
Yep, Marshall.
Shout out to Marshall at Slow by Slow.
They make this new drink called the Wedge. It's 2 shots of espresso, about a half cup of sparkling water, vanilla extract, I think, and cream. It's so good. It's really good. It's really good. Well, Riley, what's been going on?
Portfolios are looking a little bit nice this week.
Things are coming back.
I'm not getting too excited at all.
Okay, why?
I just have a gut feeling. I don't know. I just have a gut feeling that this is not the bottom.
Yeah.
But I don't know because if you zoom out, it's a pretty drastic bottom.
Right.
But
50% down from all-time highs and a lot of securities.
Yeah, and I get, with COVID, we came back in a month or whatever. But it's like, obviously that was a lot different than the market cycle that we're going through now. This one's a little bit more, well, I wouldn't say natural, but it's a little bit more.
A little more self-imposed. We printed a shitload of money. And so what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah. Because like you were saying about, you were mentioning something about rates and like rent or something, and people like aren't signing deals.
Yeah, buying power.
So then it's like, okay.
So when interest rates get raised.
How long do we wait then? Like, how long does it take inflation to come down after raising those rates?
Yeah,
and
I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows?
We talked about it last week a little bit banks' rates came down a tiny bit. What was it, a couple weeks ago?
It was by 0.5 percentage point.
Yeah,
percentage point.
At the same time, I've definitely seen a huge slowdown, but I don't see it being a slowdown in a negative way. I think it's just like, hey, let's balance the teeter-totter, and then we can kind of keep growing, especially locally. Buying power got taken away with interest rates rising, but I think it's good.
I've heard a lot of agents say it'll correct, or it'll pull back, but it's not gonna be a crash. Like it's gonna pull back and then grow even more.
Yep.
Obviously, like
slingshot engage.
Yeah, obviously you got to take what most
trademark Ricky Bobby
say. You got to take what most agents say with a grain of salt because like they're trying to sell something.
Yeah,
but also,
that is true.
But I've seen that similar opinion across tons of people. Mm-hmm. So
I'm hearing it from a lot of different markets too. So let's dive into our 3 topics of today. Today we got what is going on with Elon. Is he an alien or not? What do you think?
It looks like it. No, he just, he's in the office so much, doesn't get any sun. He's pale.
White.
Yeah, he's
white. He's living in the factory under like LEDs, Isn't
that crazy how some rich people, like he could step away from Tesla and like obviously it would probably go bankrupt, but he could step away and be fine for the rest of his life.
Yet he's still.
But then like some people that are like just millionaires are just living the life, yachts, but like Elon's just, he's just
He
different.
really wants to change the world.
Yeah.
And he really wants to put people on Mars. I think deep down, that's what's like motivating him.
Oh, for sure.
And his 9 kids, Did
you see the Nelk podcast with Mark Cuban?
Yes.
And they're like, he was like, yeah, I texted Elon when he had his other kid. He's like, how many more are you going to have? And he was like, Mars needs people. But yeah, it was just funny. But yeah, so Tesla earnings came out. And they crushed it.
Absolutely crushed it. I think it's the only stock right now that's trading up like 20% in the last month.
Yeah.
I just checked this morning. It's up 22.38%.
Yeah,
on a 1-month chart.
Yes, which is in this market is a little bit
shocking. Why do you think that is? And the caveat to this, for those crypto investors listening, Tesla sold all their Bitcoin.
Yes, Tesla sold all their Bitcoin.
What do you think about that?
Well, I read this article that they sold the Bitcoin to have a higher cash balance on their books.
Yep.
Which I don't know. Going into I think
they sold it at a loss.
Okay.
So
probably,
which is
because they bought it when it was probably like
40-ish. Yep. And so it's a net book loss. And I think that honestly, it was close to $1 billion of cash that they liquidated. So it was like $958 million of Bitcoin, which I don't think Elon's done with it. I think that he has a good point with how clean it is from an energy perspective, but yet batteries in Tesla isn't that clean either.
Yeah.
I just think that he was really in a pinch and needed some cash. And in the back of my mind, I really think that Elon's in trouble in this Twitter deal.
He's got to pay for his lawyers.
He's got to pay for his lawyers. I think he's going to have to. The judge, I heard this morning, the judge that is on the case, it's going to be in October. It's 5 days long. It's probably going to be televised, which is going to be great.
It's going to be like the Johnny Depp trial.
Yep, but better. Because it's Elon.
Elon, yeah.
And he's just really funny. But the judge that is assigned to this case in the past has forced these mergers to go through. Like her track record is not splitting it up. So back to the root of it, I think Tesla earnings, it's a board of directors making these decisions to sell Bitcoin. It's not just Elon.
Elon, yeah.
And so I think raising a cash position shows Tesla investors that he's bought into only Tesla and not into this crypto whatever world. And so I think that that's part of the run up of why Tesla has gone up 10, 20%. I think that it would make some sense to that,
Yeah. Because that would make sense, because I don't know if the stock would grow if this was the only headline, because it says Tesla grows revenue 42%, but automotive margins decline. Like I said, they make more and more money, but the margins get smaller and smaller. Is it just the technology's lacking and then we're just not there yet, like with EVs, or like?
I personally think that Tesla's like 10 times ahead of any other car company. You look at Ford.
Yeah.
Like the Ford F-150 Lightning, I think is a great truck. I want to buy one today.
The electric one?
The new electric truck that came out. Super cool. You got a lot of business incentive, tax write-offs, things like that to buying it. But if I were to go try and order one today, it'd take at least a year to get it. That's how backed up they are. And so there's this demand for this EV electric truck. And now and this is another underlying thing, is the Cybertruck closer to being released than we think? Because I think Elon's smart enough to saying, hey, when we launch this thing, we want tons of orders to go out right away.
They want to like stockpile it and then.
Exactly.
Also, would Ford deliver it to your house, or is that a Tesla thing?
I think it's just a Tesla thing. That's another nice
awesome
thing. And then like you look at self-driving, most cars, newer cars nowadays have this lane adjust auto. They're pretty good. They stay in the lane. They do what Tesla does, but I feel like Tesla's AI is like 10 times further ahead.
Yeah. Well, I heard from someone one time, it was probably in an article, maybe it was my grandpa that told me this, but he was like, everyone's been trying to build a car and then the system for the electric, and he was like, Elon built the system AI and built the car around it.
Ooh.
And I was like, yeah, I mean,
that's
that makes
really
sense.
True. Because basically people call them iPhones on wheels.
Yeah.
It's like when we used to transition from the traditional phone to an iPhone, it was like so weird.
Mm-hmm. Well, my first one wasn't an iPhone, but I was like, I'm so young, I don't really remember like the transition.
A baby.
Yeah, but
that's why you're on the podcast, because you have good insight.
Yeah, I definitely have a different viewpoint for sure.
That's really interesting.
But I'm bullish on Tesla for sure.
Me too, long term. I think the stock's undervalued right now.
Obviously,
personally.
Yeah. Well, I think so for sure. Because
what is it? They produced 1 million cars last year, and they're trying to produce 2 million this year. It's like the goal.
Well, their delivery per quarter has only like tripled
It's growing exponentially. Yeah.
Whatever.
And then they just launched, and you think of like all the COVID mess too in China and Shanghai. Like we don't have close touch with that. They're just starting to produce cars.
Yeah.
And that factory supposedly is the second biggest, only to Texas gigafactory. So like they just started producing cars in China, and I don't know.
Well, and I think it was like they delivered more cars from the first quarter in China than they
did in
like.
Oh wow.
I don't remember the statistic, but it was something like
it's a big number.
But
I'm bullish on Elon. I'm bullish on Tesla. I'm bullish on the Boring Company. I'm bullish on getting to Mars.
Yeah.
Would you go to Mars?
I mean, if it wasn't like $40,000, but it'll probably be a lot.
I think it takes 5 years to get there.
What?
Yeah. Because of the way that the planets align, and I was watching this SpaceX video, that it will take 4 years and we have to leave I think the first time we could leave and try and get to Mars, because you have to like time it
Time
right.
it, yeah.
Yep.
That's so crazy.
That, and don't quote me on that, but it would take 4.5 years to get there. So we had to try and launch something this year, I think, to time it right, or else we have to wait another 5 years or something weird.
That makes sense, but that's just insane.
Like, imagine
years
when
of
we're
just-
like 80 years old and we have the choice to like, hey, would you go on a ship for 5 years just to get to Mars?
By then, though, it probably wouldn't take that long because our technology maybe.
And would we live an extra, like, at that point in time, are we projected to live to 120? Like, would you want to spend? I kind of want to spend my last 10 years on Mars.
That'd be cool.
It'd be kind of rad.
It's like, if I die, whatever, I'm
Right?
good. But it's also like, all right.
Yeah, you might as well try it. I think the hardest thing is going to be able to go there and come back.
Yeah. But it's just like, I don't know. Have you ever seen the 100?
No.
The show of those kids are like in space. There's like a radioactive like apocalypse on Earth, and then they went to space in like these spaceship like space shuttles, and they didn't come down for 100 years. Or no, they didn't come down for like a long time after, but they sent 100 prisoners to test it.
Oh.
Whatever. But like
That's a
they were
good
just on
idea.
like a huge space station type thing, and it was just like it was almost just like a big, what you would imagine like a spaceship,
Right.
in a movie. But it's like that's probably what we would be going in, is like a
It's like
large,
a giant, like a
everyone would have
cruise
their own-
ship
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
cruise ship type thing. But like 5 years on that would probably be.
5 years is a long time though, too.
It is.
But
If
is
you
it
really
is
think
it
about it?
really 5 years when you're traveling?
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows?
All right.
All right, we got off on a
LIV
tangent.
LIV PGA. Blake and I are both golfers. Blake would whoop my ass, but
Yep.
still love it. For those of you that don't know, LIV is a new tour that Greg Norman created pretty much as a competitor to the PGA Tour, because the PGA Tour has been the only professional golf tour to really exist,
Right.
besides the European Tour. But
It's interesting the direction golf is going, because you look at a lot of these other, let's take basketball or football, for instance. You sign these fat contracts on the front end. You know, I mean, Kyler Murray with the Cardinals just signed, I think, a $205 million or $230 million 5-year contract. That's like 20 to 30 million a year, roughly, right? Yeah. That's
ish,
close.
yeah.
And a lot of it was guaranteed too. I think there was some crazy stat that it was like a lot of it's guaranteed whether he gets hurt or not, all that stuff. Football's a gamble. But golf has always been ass backwards. You don't necessarily sign contracts with the PGA, from my understanding, and you don't get paid until you place or win in a tournament. So it's all based on performance.
It is, yeah. You're not guaranteed anything.
So I think it's a good idea. I do think it dilutes the PGA brand and the history
Yeah.
of what has been around for so many years. And at the same time, it's bringing the new generation of golf to, I don't know. It's interesting. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely opening, because there's a lot of people that can debate that Dana White doesn't pay his fighters enough.
Exactly.
Okay, well then who's going to come and make the LIV of UFC, like, to counter that?
Right.
So it's like a lot of these players are like, I respect it, but I like where I'm at with the PGA, blah, blah, blah. And some players are like, I'm fed up with this crap. I just want to go relax, maybe. You know, like, I just want to go.
8 big tournaments a year.
Brooks, he's like, I
make
just
some
want to
more
go.
money.
I just want to go hang out with my
Have some
wife. and-
injuries
yeah, and just because there's 54 tournaments a year.
in the
LIV.
PGA.
No,
No,
LIV
LIV
stands
is
for
is
54.
only 54 holes,
Oh, that's right.
8 tournaments.
8
Yeah,
tournaments.
8 tournaments.
I was like, that seems like a lot.
That's a lot of tournaments.
But yeah, so there's no cut. And
So I read this morning that there's about 40 players on the tour in the top 40, or there's a handful of players in the top 40 that now want to get into the LIV, and they're not accepting more people because it's getting full.
someone I was surprised that went over was Henrik Stenson. He just released that he went over, and I was very surprised by that. I don't know why. I just feel like Henrik Stenson's one of those very
Like history
classic
in the game.
PGA golfers, like Ian Poulter. I don't know if Ian went
I
over.
don't know if he went over or not.
I don't know. Ian's kind of a controversial golfer. Like,
Yeah.
he always stands his ground, which I respect. But then Ernie Els came out with a statement, and
Backing the PGA.
Yes, and he was just like, give me 1 second.
No, you're good. But so where I see what would be super interesting is if all of a sudden a lot of the live golfers aren't allowed to play in the majors. Because they're each one of their organizations. So let's say the Masters, for example, all past Masters champions have the right to play in that tournament as long as they live forever.
Yeah.
DJ signs a contract with LIV. The Masters organization is their own separate organization. It's not the PGA.
Yeah. Is it the USGA?
They're its own thing.
Oh, the Masters is?
It's basically ran by the members of the club.
Interesting.
So they haven't came out and made an announcement like, is DJ going to play next year or not? Because you spin it both ways. Yes, he gets to play. Then they right away set precedent. It's like, okay, well then that's, they could always change the rule later. But if they go out and say, well, you can't play in this, I think it creates huge waves in the whole golf world. And it's getting to the point that I think at first the PGA was like, all right, go ahead and try me. Kind of like the XFL and like NFL. Like the NFL is a huge brand. Yeah. Huge. So when the XFL started, there's no chance that it could take down the NFL. When LIV started, it had that same impression. But when you start backing things with some Saudi money.
With some big money.
Paying golfers hundreds of millions of dollars, I think that things change dramatically. And I think the best thing for golf right now is for them to get their representatives together and say, top 12 dudes from LIV, top 12 dudes from the PGA Tour, we're going to
President's
who's
Cup
better
type thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then that totally
Cup,
gets
whatever.
rid of the Ryder Cup, which is kind of sad because that's been such like a history and heritage to golf that I don't know. I mean, somewhere it's got to snap.
It's just, it is crazy. It's like, I'm all for innovation and stuff. And it's like, okay, well, the PGA has been around for a long time. So it's like, yes, it could use, I don't know. Is there a
because there's a lot of people that were unhappy with it prior to LIV Golf starting.
Exactly. So there was a need,
it's like there was something not going on, and maybe it is just the money thing.
Yeah.
Well,
Phil was trashing on him, had some derogatory comments, and then
he disappeared for 4 months.
And then they offered
dropped
him,
his sponsors, dropped him.
And then they offered him $280 million. He was like, all right, I'll be there.
I'll be the face of LIV
So
golf.
this is Ernie L's comment. You can't have a 48-man tour playing no-cut golf and expect the world to take you seriously. It's not going to happen. That's very firm.
That's very bold.
Henrik Stenson has been stripped of his Ryder Cup captaincy and is expected to join LIV Golf. Isn't that crazy?
So I've watched one event. They've got another event coming up this weekend, I think.
LIV?
Yeah. I think it's their second of
the schedule at all, but
and I still don't know how they're generating revenue necessarily. I mean, they don't have TV deals. Ooh, they picked up Fairhurdy. Yep. That is huge.
That is
because
he's the face
of spokespeople in
golf.
And just to give him the opportunity of loose lips, I can't wait to watch the next event.
Yeah.
Because you know that he has certain specifications within the organization of NBC or wherever he was contracted that he can only say certain things, where now just let him go, dude.
Yeah, I don't really know what the Saudis' vision is. I mean, if they're dumping billions of dollars into this,
right?
what are they getting out of it?
Yeah, what's
is it
the
a
exit
10-year
strategy?
Plan?
Yeah.
Is it a 20-year plan? Is it just, are they going to do a lot of tournaments there?
Could you imagine if in 15 years, we don't even talk about the PGA Tour anymore and it's all about the LIV Tour? But I think they're going to have to coexist.
Yeah.
Because the PGA Tour won't die. But
just like Ford and
yeah, exactly.
Chevy,
there's another car company out there. Tesla's coming out to play.
Yeah. Well, there's Pepsi and Coke.
Yep.
Right?
They complement one another.
They're pretty much the same.
And with LIV being only eight events, I think that's smart, because then they can coexist with the PGA Tour.
Then also it's 8 events and the players are making lots the same, if not more, and they're playing a fraction of the golf.
Right. And they still have the opportunity to win money on the tour.
It just takes are they still suspended though?
I think they are. But we just had the British Open, and did you see where they had the cut of the British Open went to go show DJ and they cut it right to a commercial real quick. Like it fades out and goes to a commercial because they're not trying to show live golfers.
That's crazy.
So that was fascinating for me to see because they
It's-
only showed like one of his shots all weekend.
I was talking to my dad, and
What does your dad think?
I think he kind of I think he's kind of on the same page as us. Like, yeah, you know, like was bound to happen, blah blah blah.
Right.
But then you know, Tiger's comment, like it's just very like we're not like he's not against it by any means, but there's you know, there's pros and cons to each.
Right.
But
I'm curious to see how it plays out with like JT, Justin Thomas, and Rory because they're kind of like
Rory's
like Tiger
very-
can stamp his, you know, he's not going anywhere. You just know it.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Rory on the other hand, he's pretty stuck there too with the amount of majors he's won, things like that. He's still trying to get a grand slam, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then like guys like JT that it's like, okay, he's younger. He's kind of in our generation. I think he can kind of see
He's younger than you.
the shiny stars and go, "Oh, maybe I could take I mean, dude, $100 million.
Well, because
That's so much money.
it's just like Phil in the PGA Champions Tour or the PGA Champions, whatever. Like when he turned 50 or whatever the age is.
He went to the senior tour and started waxing.
Yeah,
dudes.
and he was like number one. Like if JT could do that in the LIV, like why not?
And golf is such one of those games that it's like you get hot and you stay hot. I mean, you look at like Brooks now. Like it's been a couple years since he's won a major, but
He was-
1 year he just freaking went off. You know, it's such a mental game.
Yeah.
'Cause all those guys are great, amazing golfers. It's a mental edge.
And then he gets hurt, and then gets married, and then you know.
Gets a big payday and he's like, screw it, I'll just play. But the other thing that's interesting is I really hope that LIV does events like the comboed golf matches and create some drama. Because I feel like what sells drama, that's why the UFC does well when they put these cards together. It's because they're like, how can we sell this?
Yeah.
You know, like when Tom Brady and, you know, they do these celebrity golfing events, like, I hate that they did 12 holes when they just played at the Wynn. I'm like, dude, just play 18.
Yeah.
Like these guys can play 18.
Did they do 12 because of Brady?
I don't know why
that
they
his
did
number?
12. Maybe they did do that because of him.
I don't know.
It's 12 holes. Anyways, don't do 12 holes. Do 9 or 18.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
come
so
on, guys.
weird.
But those matches, I've
I love
tuned into
them.
all of them.
I love them. And
Because it's like-
they're like talking.
Yeah, they're on
It's
it.
hilarious.
It's so great because there's some shit talking,
banter, yeah,
Yep,
it's
yep. And
amazing.
if you can get an organization like LIV or PGA to like jump on board with that to do like one every quarter, I think you can generate a lot of attention and almost like get a little bit of beef going. Like I feel like Brooks and Bryson beef, like it kind of is fizzled out, but
Yeah.
they could reignite that fire really easily.
Yeah,
by
especially
just
because
a
now they're
tweet.
both LIV.
I know.
But
That's an interesting one too. Bryson
thing-
going over there.
yeah, well, I haven't heard about Bryson in forever. But one thing my dad said, he was like, all of these players, like all the reporters are like stirring the pot, and all these players are like, we do not
I
care.
know.
We are coexisting. Like there's no hard feelings,
There's no
whatever.
line. It's like,
Like-
we want to do both.
Yeah, and so it's like it's like the reporters. It sells.
Yeah.
People watch
I
it,
know.
but
Yeah.
they're
It's
just
the
like
content and the.
someone got pissed the other day. Who was it?
Who just won the British Open?
Cameron Smith.
Yes. They asked him about it in his post-conference,
Yeah.
post-championship
I
interview.
don't know if it was Cam, but someone else was just like you guys have asked me this 7 times. Like, quit talking about it.
Right.
Like
That was
we're-
probably Brooks. He's
nobody
like,
cares.
Shut
like
up.
nobody's. Yeah. But all right, let's pivot.
Okay. Cam
Um,
Smith, though, congrats on winning the British Open. That was a
I didn't
great
even-
run down the stretch.
I didn't watch him. I didn't watch the Open that much this year, surprisingly. But I didn't really even like expect him to just pop up there, and he was like in the top.
What did he
3 the
shoot?
whole-
30 on the back 9?
I don't
6
know. He
under?
had 5 birdies in a
5
row.
birdies.
at
Yep. And
St.
then
Andrews.
birdied 18 to put it at 19 under. That was
19
unbelievable.
under at a major,
Major, yeah.
is in
That-
St. Andrews.
I think Tiger's lowest round was 20 under. Or Cam tied the lowest round or lowest 4 rounds at a major.
Major.
Lowest score posted. That's crazy.
he's good.
Yeah,
good.
he's really good. He putts so well.
Yeah.
That's a winner.
Yeah.
Let's pivot.
All right, let's
Aaron
pivot.
Paul.
Aaron Paul.
Riley has magical media hands and has the opportunity to shoot a promotional video for an iconic house in our Boise local market. So to spin this, our goal is to talk about some current events, but we also want to sprinkle in some Boise events because I think that that's relevant.
Yeah. So Aaron Paul went to Centennial High
So did
School.
he call you
No.
to shoot the video?
No.
Ah, darn.
So he grew up in Emmett, went to Centennial High School. Long story short, has his big break, Breaking Bad. He's an actor.
Big break, Breaking
Yeah,
Bad.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Has a wildly successful career. Now he has a mezcal company with Bryan Cranston,
Okay.
which is dope. And then he's also produces a lot of things. Has his shows and I don't know how many movies he has. I know he's El Camino, obviously, the
Right.
Breaking Bad movie. But anyway, I'm a huge fan to start with. To
You
preface
are?
this, I'm
Okay.
a huge fan.
I have no idea who he is.
Yeah, so I just watched Breaking Bad, and I'm like, he's from Boise or whatever.
Yeah.
Me and my buddies, we dressed up as like the Breaking Bad cast like 2 years ago.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Ironically, so it
Yeah.
was funny.
Yep,
I wasn't
yep.
Jesse, but yeah. So he's owned this house on Warm Springs since 2014.
Okay, that's wild.
When it was his first home in Boise,
Yeah.
and it was kind of his. I think he lived there for a couple of years, but then it was turned into like his crash pad when he came to
When
Boise.
he came to town.
And so he just the last like 4 or 5 years, he just hasn't. His
Touched
family
it.
kind of uses it a little bit, but like no one lives in it, and it's such an
Right.
iconic mid-century home. Where I think it probably just got to the point where it was like someone needs to actually enjoy this for what it is and like live in it.
Because he didn't necessarily need the money. He was like,
Well,
I just,
exactly,
you
yeah.
know,
Although I mean,
maybe he did.
he probably made a ton on it because 2014 to now,
Yeah,
and a Warm
his-
Springs property.
Yeah, it's probably paid
Yeah,
3, 4, 500,000 for it
yeah,
back then.
probably. So I know TJ, who owns Boise Mid-Century Homes Group.
Right.
So there's just a bunch of agents that specialize in mid-century real estate and stuff.
Which, to comment on that real quick, if you're in real estate, specialize in something. I mean,
Yes.
don't just be
Oh,
a
for
residential agent. Those guys have done extremely well because they've focused in on their craft.
Yeah,
I just have to say that.
TJ has a great story, and has just crushed it. I mean,
Years.
yeah. So in like 5 to 6 years, he's made
Done
crazy
really
headway.
well because he's focused on
It's
it.
just I even have experience with that, you
Right.
know? But so long story short, Aaron Paul has his listing agent. Piers was the listing agent. TJ reached out to Piers and asked if we could go shoot a Architectural Digest type video documentary on it, short documentary thing.
Yep. Kind of like a mini short film.
It was like a 3.5 minute film. And so we were kind of talking about the reason it's so special. So Jed, one of the agents on the Mid-Century team, he was the subject in the interview. He just has like this majestic voice. It was perfect. So we interviewed him, and he was just talking about the importance of this home, who it was built for, why it was built, why there's a pool in the middle.
What's the big feature to it? Release it.
So it was built for Edith Miller Klein.
Okay.
She was the first woman in Idaho to pass the bar exam and practice law.
Oh, wow.
And so she had it built in the 50s, and she used the hot spring pool every day, supposedly.
Okay, so this house features, how big is it? 10 by 10? It's a good sized little
Oh,
pool.
the pool?
Yeah.
It's probably like 8 by 10.
So filtered off of a natural hot springs off Warm Springs Boulevard, right?
Yeah, so literally there's a spigot in the side of the pool that's just pouring hot spring water into it.
That's so cool.
That heats it. So then you have to turn it off, though.
Okay,
because-
pause. Cut to the pool so you
Yes,
can show
yeah,
the viewers.
We'll show it.
Sweet.
But literally, they can't just have it running all the time because the water will get like 120 degrees because it's so hot. So it's just there to warm the water, and then they cut it off, and then it cools off, whatever. But it's such a weird concept because you walk into the house and it's humid. It's just
Because
humid
of
because there's a pool in it.
There's a pool in the house.
And there's these wood floor to ceiling wood framed windows,
Yep.
like enclosing the pool. And it's interesting to me that they use so much wood
'Cause it's
when there's a
porous.
pool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
there's
that
like
is
humidity.
interesting.
Like, is there like any mold issues? Probably. Obviously, they probably inspected it, but
Yeah.
I mean, all of this is like, it's all original. but it's
Super
thoughtfully
interesting.
renovated.
Yeah.
So it's like they kept all the character.
So does Mid-Century Homes come in and also do renovations on homes? Like, do they have a division within their company that does that, or they just list and sell?
I don't think so.
Okay. But they probably know contractors that
Probably
do
yes, because I think it's a very specific niche.
Unique.
Like they refinished all the wood frames around the windows,
Uh-huh.
but the guy took the sandpaper and it literally scratched the window all the way down, like from the.
Nice.
And it's just like, some contractor
Come on, bro. Yeah.
probably smoking a cigarette, just
Yeah.
So it's like
6 beers deep.
yeah.
Just,
So
just get
those
my job
houses
done.
are very like, it's like fine wine. It's like
So true.
but no, it's just such an amazing space. It's centralized around the pool. So in the living space number 1, pool, and then the kitchen you can see the pool. Dining room you can see the pool. Living space number 2 that turns into an office. It has these walls that close. It's like
that's cool. Like an accordion
yeah,
type.
yeah. It is an accordion. So and it turns into an office. You can see the pool. Bedroom 1, you can see the pool, and the master, is right up next to the pool, and you can open like literally wake up, open the door, and jump in the pool.
That's super cool.
But it's just such a cool property, and you don't even see it when you drive because there's shrubbery and bushes.
house,
I mean,
right?
it's like a tunnel of like bushes.
Yeah.
And you go in, and then it's open, and it's like the front
That's
door, and then there's there's not a garage, but there's a
Covered
like the
parking area.
mid-century
Yep.
homes have the
Yep.
overhang
Yep.
or whatever. But yeah, it was just a super cool opportunity. Jesse from Mid-Century reached out, and he's an agent there. He also has a background in film,
Right.
but he reached out and
That's
he was
your
like,
connection. Okay.
yeah. Well, actually, no, I met TJ first, but
Right.
he reached out. He was like, TJ and I have a cool opportunity. Like, do you want to be a part of it and film it? And at the time, I had no idea what it was about.
Right.
I was like, sure.
Yeah, sure.
And then we hopped on the phone, and he told me, and I was like, oh, for sure, we're doing this. And so we did it. Jesse ended up, he was out of town when we filmed it, just because we had to reschedule some things. So he was like on FaceTime the whole time, just like
Trying
making
to
sure
direct.
we're getting,
Yep.
because it's a very specific style of film, and it's not my style.
Okay.
Obviously, as a videographer, creator, you can mimic styles,
Right.
like you just had to be kind of versatile in that way. But it was definitely like a different style for me. Granted, I've shot real estate before, so it's like kind of similar, but it's just very.
I
very
felt like I was
slow,
like
static
starting,
shots.
like when I first watched it, like it was the start of this, like in ways kind of creepy, like murder. Like, but then it also like brings the liveliness and the brightness
Yes.
out as the film goes. But it was just, when I say film, it was like a little film.
Yeah.
It was just really unique that you shot that, and
Yeah.
it turned out so cool.
Well, and Jed sat down on the couch, and I'm just like, wow, this is literally the perfect. I mean, the leading
Setting.
lines,
Yep.
leading lines from the ceiling, like the wood in the ceiling, I was like, framed it perfectly. The natural light blaring in from those floor
Pick
to
a
ceiling
great
windows.
time of day.
I was like, perfect. Like I didn't even use a light in that interview,
Oh wow!
And it was
all
just-
the natural light.
and it was just like, I kind of did a very like wide angle for the camera one, and some plant in the foreground, and then it was just like perfect. Like someone that doesn't know how to do an interview would be able to just set it up and make it look good.
Right.
Which
Made your job a whole
maybe
lot
discredits
easier.
me a little bit, but it just looks so good, and it was just like such a fun project to be a part of, and it was such a different project. That's also the appeal to me, because I'd never done a project like that, and
Right.
I've been telling everyone that's the first video that I've made.
Do you remember the address?
I have no idea what the address is. I have.
I was gonna look up and see if it's under contract.
That was the first video that I've made in my 4.5 years that I continue to go back, watch it, and I'm happy with it.
That's awesome.
Like 97% of my work, I'll make it, and then like 2 weeks
6
later,
months
I'm
later,
like,
you're like,
I should have done that.
Missed that.
Should've
Yeah.
done-" you know.
Yeah.
And obviously our work is like, it looks great. Boom, boom, boom. Like it's kind of hard to like mess it up in a sense.
Yeah.
And I'm not too critiquey on it, because it's like the goal is not to make the content look good. It's to document the
Right.
content
And
you
get
know?
it
So
out
it's like
To everybody.
it still
in
looks
the
great. I'm
world.
not saying that we half-ass it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's a different style,
Oh, for sure.
and it just
Yeah.
like
That's the world I know
But-
nothing about. Filming.
yeah. I'm gonna look it up really quickly and see.
So what do you take away from an experience like that that, I mean, there's a whole nother avenue of like the interest of, I mean, shoot, your video kind of went viral on others' platforms.
Yes, it did.
So when I say, what do you take away from that? I think what I'm asking is how good was it for the community of Boise to have that publicized and featured, I guess. It's kind of what I'm asking. Like, how did that help not only you personally, but to bring light on that Boise's just not this like new construction playground right now.
Yeah.
There's some really cool history in our market.
I think it was awesome to be a part of a project that was kind of deeper than just here's a cool video.
Right.
You know, 'cause
Of
that's
this
always
new
what it's
modern
been.
house. Yeah.
That's always what it's been. So to be a part of something that was deeper than that, and that also that like, I mean, KTVB hijacked it, like, which is kind of cool, but also kind of stupid because they just have free reign of everything. But
Yeah.
no, I think at the end of the day, I was like, it was a passion project for sure.
Yeah.
Like if I wouldn't have gotten paid for that, I probably would have been fine.
Yeah.
With it,
Just because it was like an experience, to say the least.
it was an experience. It was funny. I walked in.
Did you bring your swimming trunks?
No,
Oh, you
should've.
didn't try.
I was sweating so bad.
Were you?
Well,
Because
it
it's
was
so
obviously
humid.
like 95 out.
Oh
And
yeah.
it was also humid. Like I don't think I've ever sweat that much. Like even at
Wow.
the gym. But
Wow.
it was
You
it
need
was
to work harder in the gym.
it was brutal. It was like I was there for 3.5, 4 hours
Ooh.
shooting. But there was one thing I was gonna say. So I walked in, and TJ and Jesse usually do these just them. And
Right,
like, they
right.
just know. It's like you and I, we just know.
Know what each other's
And so
thinking.
I walked in, and TJ was like, "Are you nervous?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "I'm nervous," just cause he wanted it just to be
To be
like.
so perfect.
Jesse wasn't there, so it was like very foreign.
Yeah.
I was like, "I got you, TJ."
Yep.
And I think I produced something that they weren't expecting.
Exactly.
I think I produced something I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, I'd agree with that
honestly.
too. Because when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, who shot this? Oh, I did. Oh, shit."
Yeah. So it was a great experience.
So if you're looking to buy a mid-century modern house in Boise, it might still be on the market. We don't know.
Pierce said he's been at Warm Springs for the last week straight.
Oh,
Showing
I
it.
bet you it.
Showing it.
Yeah, just because it got all the publicity.
And I'm sure people don't even have the intention of buying it
I
too, which is kind of
know.
annoying.
Well, you know what agents will do sometimes is they'll make you provide proof of funds.
Like pre-approved
Yep,
proof of funds.
yep, before they ever show it. Sometimes people will even say, well, you need to show me the cash on your bank account, even if they are financing it.
They were making that joke when we were recording. They're like, you got to have proof of funds to.
Give me. I'll tell you guys if it's still on the market. It is sold to the gentleman in the left.
Is it sold?
It's sold.
Let me see.
Sold.
No, because this was
Oh.
that's sold to Aaron.
Okay, tell me the address. Pending.
Really?
We are under contract. So he purchased it for $340. It's pending. This is the list price, $135.
Quick
Basically, quick mill. I mean, it's 10 years, so I mean,
Yeah.
it's not bad. Oh, this is cool. Yeah, and they all accordion out to the pool.
And the floor is
Yeah,
stone. All of it
That's
stone.
cool. This
There's
would
so
be
much
like
history because
such a
it's-
sick pad for like if you didn't live in Boise and wanted to have like a place here.
Yeah, I don't know if I could live in that house.
No,
'cause
it's
just
like an
very
Airbnb.
unique. Yeah.
Like if I was an investor, that might be a great Airbnb.
You'd have to be like I don't know.
Mark it up.
Honestly, I feel like they wouldn't allow that.
What?
Like I don't know if there's like HOA on Warm Springs at all, but
Probably not.
like I feel like
maybe
for such
there
a
is.
historic.
Hmm.
I don't know. I feel like they would knock that down quickly.
Whoa, there's one across the street that's a monster.
But
All right.
you'd have to be like an artist to live there. You know, like you'd have to be a creative.
Oh, yeah, like
you
an
know?
architect would live there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Okay, podcast's going a little long.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'll chop that up.
3 for 30.
3 for 3.
3 for 3.
Three.
We still haven't came up
3,
with the
4,
name
3.
of our podcast. So if you guys have any names, let us know.
Yeah, I think we should go the route like 343, like 343.
Yeah, but what does that mean?
3 topics.
30 minutes.
Maybe like
I like the Blake and Riley show.
Blake and Riley show. Okay.
Bye.